Hey guys, we are back with another episode, and today we are going to be talking about Future, the rapper, and this woman named Eliza Rain, who has confirmed that she is now the eighth mother to one of his children. They've been going back and forth on social media for a while now, and to be honest, it's been more so Eliza Rain, which is what her name is, that has been accusing him of being the father to her child and trying to get him to submit to a DNA test so that she could prove it. So this has finally happened, and now Future is making an offer of child support to Eliza, but she has rejected the offer. He's offered to pay, and he's proposed $1,000 a month in support for the child, but she is actually wanting around $53,000 a month based on his reported $20 million a year in income. And that's what she believes that he should be paying. So she believes that this is, a lowball offer. She does not want to accept it. And he was offering her $1,000 a month and then wanted her to sign a deal, to sign a gag order to stop talking about him publicly, because she's made a lot of statements about him online, on little interviews that she's done, and, different things with some bloggers. And it's just been a lot. Now, we all know and we've all heard that the rapper Future, he is known to have a lot of kids. He's known to have been out there and has been sowing his wild oats irresponsibly. And so he's got a number of kids to prove that. And he's even got a child with the singer Sierra, who has definitely since moved on. And she has completely leveled up in terms of where she was before with someone like him who was not faithful to her. And now she has the husband, the football player Russell Wilson, and he has accepted her child with the rapper Future as his own, and also they have a child together and she's expecting another one. So yeah, he's got a number of kids, and he has made some disparaging comments about this woman, talking about her looks, saying that she's ugly, and different things like that. Of course, those things are not cool. But here's a question that I wanted to ask about this situation, because clearly he is the father to this child, because the DNA test has come back and has proven that he is the biological father to the baby. So they're now battling out over how much child support should be paid, and of course the custody issue. Well, of course she does not want to lose custody. I don't even believe she wants to have joint custody, because she wants to have the child so that she can have all of the finances that would come from him to take care of that child. And that's what a lot of people, and I will just say women, have done for many, many years when it comes to having a child with someone who is famous or has a lot of money. And it's something that we've seen prevalent and more so seen in the media, where it involves somebody who's either a sports player, an athlete, or somebody who is in the music industry. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to somebody who may have worked at CNN, or someone who worked at Microsoft, or someone who worked at Facebook, or, someplace like Google, where they're actually making a good over 6 figures a year, and they wound up getting someone pregnant, and now the person is the mother of the child is getting a significant amount of money each month for child support for that child. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen to your everyday regular people who just have a good job and are making, sufficient money. But even with those cases, the child support seems to be a bit fairer in terms of the amount that has to be paid, versus when it comes to these celebrities and these athletes and these music industry people, where they have a child with someone that they did not a lot of times even really know. Because let's be honest, a lot of times it was a one-time thing, or maybe it happened several times, but they never really knew each other and they were never in a relationship. It was just a physical thing, and the woman wound up getting pregnant. So now they have this they have this child that they have to take care of, and it's a financial and physical responsibility that they both have to take on. But the amounts that a lot of these courts have ordered for the father, the paternal parent, to pay in child support has really been a bit extreme. And I may come across sounding like a woman hater, but believe me, guys, I am not. I'm just on the side of what is right and what is fair and what really makes sense. And so I just asked the question, how much does it really cost to really raise a child and take care of a child on a monthly basis? Does this person really need $53,000 a month in child support for that child, when there are people who are out here getting child support where they may be lucky if they get a few $100 a month, if they're getting 4 figures a month in child support for their child, and it's still not enough to take care of the child. So there are a lot of people who are still on public assistance and, and different things like that, where they have a child with someone and the amount of money that they're receiving in child support is just really not sufficient, but it's just what it is. And the court rules it based on the guidelines of how much the mother makes and how much the father makes. And they use that table, mathematically to figure out what the amounts are. And then a lot of times they'll also take into consideration how much the paternal parent will have, or the non-custodial parent, we should say, because it's not always the men and the women, but we're just talking about that in this situation where it's the man who has the money for the most part and the woman is seeking child support for the child. A lot of times they may take other things into consideration, like how much the father will have the child with them in terms of visitation and those other little things that may happen. But I don't understand why a court would just purely judge the amount of child support a person has just on what that father makes and not really just taking into account how much it costs to raise a child. Because what I believe that it has done is it has created this monster where you have a lot of women, and let's just be honest, guys, we know that it has happened a lot in the past, and unless some things are changed within the child support court system, will continue to happen in the future if men are not more responsible. Because yes, it takes two, but if a woman is going to be laying down with somebody that they don't really know, they weren't really in a relationship with, and have a child, have a responsibility that they're going to have for the rest of their lives, and that non-custodial parent is going to have to pay support for that child for the next 18 to 24 years, just depending on what the court allows with regards to college and and stuff like that. A man has to be more responsible, and they really need to make better decisions about who they lay it down with. You guys know that I am definitely more conservative when it comes to sexual things and your body and how a woman should conduct themselves, and just not being out there and loose, because ultimately you're responsible for your body. You're responsible if you get with somebody by choice. I'm not talking about someone taking advantage of you, but you get with someone by choice, and then you either wind up getting pregnant or unfortunately getting some type of STI or STD. You made the decision and the choice to get with this person. And sometimes, if not more times than not, a lot of men are not thinking about that type of stuff because they tend to think more with their body parts than women do. And that's just a truth thing. I mean, men are more physical, women are more emotional. Now, I know that we're living in a different day and age now where a lot of women tend to be a little bit more loose when it comes to their bodies, and they act like it, they're more free and all of that different type of stuff. But I've never carried myself like that, and I've never understood it. And so when things happen that are caused by living that type of way, then yeah, you can be remorseful, but you kind of have to pay for those decisions. And so when it comes to the child support thing, I sometimes feel like courts, they can create this sort of what I'll call a deadbeat mama or a deadbeat baby mama, that's just looking for a come up off of having a child. And I don't think it's fair to the children. And I also don't think it's fair to the man either. And that doesn't make me a woman hater. That doesn't make me just caping for the man. I'm just saying what I feel like is right and what is wrong. But again, like I said, men, they have to be more responsible with their actions and how they are out here doing things too. So when Future was calling this woman all types of names and saying, you know, things about her looks and all of that different type of stuff, well, he laid down with her. He did the do, and they had a child. The DNA test proved that it is his child. So calling her names and different things like that, that's not going to change the situation. It happened. Yes, he definitely sounds like he regrets it, but he did the things to cause this to happen. So her rejecting the $1,000 a month in child support, okay, maybe. But to go from $1,000 to $53,000 a month, come on, guys. I don't think that that is fair. I don't believe that that should be allowed. I don't believe that any child needs $53,000 a month in child support. Because what does that say about our child support system, where they will allow some children to have this type of money received to them? And also, one of the things I learned about the child support system is that they get a portion of the dollars that are collected for child support. So when things aren't worked out between the two parties outside of the court system, then when they go through the child support system in the courts are collecting that money, and they take a portion, and then the remainder goes to the custodial parent. That's something I found out and learned a long time ago, years ago, when I was in the legal system and I was a legal assistant. I learned about these things, and I really was surprised by that, but it's the truth. Now, I know every state is different, so it may not be that way in every state in the United States of America or even in other countries, because this isn't just in the United States. This happens in other countries as well. But I don't believe that she needs $53,000 a month, and I don't believe any parent who is getting child support should be getting that type of money just strictly for child support, period. Because more often than not, that parent is not going to be using all of that money for that child. Let's just be honest about that. We already know that that is the case. And so I don't understand it. I wanted to ask the question. I would love to know what you guys think about it. But I've seen situations like with Ludacris, the rapper, who had a child with someone that he didn't really know years ago. He wound up getting custody of that child. And that woman, the mother of that child, wanted to get a really high amount of money in child support per month. And I believe she also was saying some disparaging things about him as well. And he was in a relationship with his now wife at the time, so he may have cheated on her. I believe it was a long time ago, so I really don't remember every detail of that story. But I just remember years ago reading that on the blogs that I used to read back in the day. And then there's Chris Brown, who had the first child he had with someone, and she wanted a significant amount of money per month in child support. And I can't remember how much money she received in child support per month. I believe she wound up getting a few $1,000s a month versus the many thousands of dollars per month that she really wanted to get. So that was actually a situation that I agree with, because he has the child a lot as well. Whether you believe he deserves to, you know, if you have personal feelings about Chris Brown and the way he conducts his life or whatever, hey, she chose to have a baby with this guy. She got down with him, and so he's the mother. Well, she's the mother, he's the father, so he has the right to have the child as much as she does, if they can come to some sort of agreement without having to get the courts involved and establishing some custody things. And I believe Chris Brown had to do that as well. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you believe she needs $53,000 a month in child support? Do you believe any child's mother needs that type of money per month in child support for their child? And also, do you believe that the child support system sometimes can create deadbeat mothers? Because we already know how they treat the so-called deadbeat dads. They put them in jail. A lot of times, some guys, their lives get destroyed. And guys, again, please don't think I'm just caping for men, because I'm not. But I just know that it's not all, the things are not always reported, how some situations could have been worked out a different way. And instead of trying to make the situation where the guy can actually get a job versus them putting the person in jail and suspending their driver's license, how do you expect somebody to be able to pay child support if they're in jail? And then if you lock them up, how do you really expect them to get a job if you destroy their history and give them a criminal record? Because a lot of people don't want to hire somebody who has a record. So the system is definitely set up more so against men. There are some places that are a little bit more favorable to fathers than a lot of other places are, but for the most part, it's really set up against the men. And it's sad. And when I see things like that, it just really makes me question, is the system really for the children, or is it for them to make some money? Because when I learned that they get a portion of the child support collected, then maybe it is in the court's best interest that they go for a higher dollar amount in child support, because they're going to get a percentage of it. So it just doesn't seem right. But I would love to know what you guys think about it. Does Eliza Reign have a lot of nerve for rejecting the $1,000 a month in child support? And do you think that it's fair that some children's mothers get to collect so much money per month in child support where they never really have an incentive to become sustainable on their own, because they're using that money to fund their lifestyles and it's not even about the children anymore? So those are just some of my thoughts. I have a lot of others where it involves this issue, but this would end up being an hour-long episode, and I'm not really trying to go there, so I'm trying to keep it as brief as possible. So guys, please, thank you so much for supporting this podcast. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And thank you for supporting the podcast. You can check the links in the description and in the pinned comment to the top. This is Elizabeth, the Minister of Beauty, and I'm here to share the Bible. That's business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. So until the next episode, have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.